I investigated if there's a silent coup in South Africa. Welcome to AfroLinks. Don't forget to subscribe and like this video. Unlike in some African states, South Africa has no post-apartheid history of military intervention in governance. A silent coup, also called a soft coup or constitutional coup, is when power is taken or abused undemocratically without using military force and often without public even realizing at first. Unlike a traditional coup with tanks and soldiers, a silent coup happens from within the system, using laws, institutions, or manipulation of power. The explosive allegations by KZN Police Commissioner Lieutenant General Nhlanhla Mukhwanazi that top politicians, senior police, prosecutors, and even judges are protecting criminal syndicates have triggered nationwide concern. If true, they point to state capture of law enforcement, political interference in criminal investigations, silencing or sidelining of whistleblowers, like in the case of Babita Diakoran. This aligns closely with the early signs of a silent coup, where democracy still looks functional but is quietly being hollowed out from within. KwaZulu-Natal Police Commissioner Lieutenant General Nhlanhla Mukhwanazi has publicly accused the Police Minister Senzo Mchunu and other high-ranking officials of colluding with a criminal syndicate, covering up political assassinations, freezing investigation files, and obstructing justice. On the 6th of July 2025, Mukhwanazi held a dramatic press conference flanked by masked armed officers claiming politicians, police, prosecutors, and even judges are tied to organized crime. He directly named Police Minister Senzo Mchunu, alleging he received payments to shut down the political killings task team to protect criminal interests.
On the 14th of May this year, 2025, the task team arrested Vusi Muzi, who is also known as Cat Matlala, for an attempted murder ×3. I must highlight that this Mr. Vusi Muzi Cat Matlala is an individual who was awarded a police contract of over 360 million rand in 2024. An analysis was conducted on electronic communication of this arrested person. This analysis reveals communication between the arrested Vusimus at Ket Matlala, Mr. Brown Mokhotsi, an associate of the Minister of Police, as well as the Minister of Police, Senzo Mchunu.
National Police Commissioner Fanima Simula said no disciplinary action will be taken against Mukhwanazi, noting he's under threat and has had his security beefed up.
Well, in terms of physical protection, you know that, as I said, he's been getting threats to his life in that province. We have beefed up his security, but he won't be persecuted from my side. Surely there will be no persecution of any member of South African Police Service, not only him, but anyone.
President Cyril Ramaphosa labeled the allegations as a grave national security concern. Police Minister Senzo Mchunu denies everything, calling the accusations baseless, and SAPS top brass, including Deputy Commissioner Shadrack Sibia, have rejected Mukhwanazi's claims. There is no military takeover or unconstitutional power grab happening in the classical sense. Mukhwanazi remains within SAP's hierarchy and has not sought political office. What's unfolding is more akin to a constitutional shutdown and institutional power struggle, a senior corps blowing the whistle on alleged high-level corruption. It's a dramatic public showdown, but still framed within the system. Court of public opinion. legal investigations, and parliamentary scrutiny. Mukwanazi says he has WhatsApp messages, payment proof, and investigation files. This still needs legal scrutiny. Calls for Minister Mchunu's suspension, parliamentary debate, and a possibly commission of inquiry are gaining traction. SAPS is under pressure to act. Masimula awaits a direction from President Cyril Ramaphosa. Police unions, on the other hand, warn Mukwanazi must hold evidence or face repercussions. This is a seismic shake-up inside South Africa's police and political establishment, potentially triggering prosecutions, dismissals, or high-level reforms. The ball is now in the legal and political court. A military coup in South Africa is highly unlikely, though not impossible. Here's why. Even though weakening, there is a strong constitutional democracy. South Africa has one of the most robust and respected constitutions in the world. Independent institutions like the judiciary, Chapter 9 bodies like the Public Protector, Human Rights Commission, and an active civil society acts as buffers against authoritarian overreach. The South African National Defence Force is strictly non-partisan and has remained neutral even during political crisis. For example, during Zuma's ousting in 2018. The Constitution places the military under civilian rule. The president is the commander-in-chief, but parliament must approve the deployments. The SANDF is focused on peacekeeping, border security, and regional stability, not regime change. While a traditional coup is unlikely, these factors could destabilize the country. Worsening political factionalism within the ANC or state institutions, collapse of law enforcement credibility, e.g. ongoing Mukwanazi versus Mchunu saga, escalation of political assassinations, especially in KwaZulu-Natal, mass unrest, especially if the state responses are heavily handed or viewed as biased, capture or paralysis of oversight institutions like NPA, IPID, and Parliament. Some analysts also warn of a silent coup where state capture, manipulation of law enforcement, and corruption undermines democracy without tanks on the streets. Examples of silent coups include breakdown in constitutional order, like a refusal to accept election results. We have seen institutions like the Legal Practice Council, especially in relation to Advocate Malisela Tefu, which raised serious questions about credibility, regulation, and public trust in the legal profession. Advocate Tefu's issue was politicized and the institution was clearly used to gain political scores and self-preservation. The LPC has clearly put the legal profession into disrepute, as outlined by Judge Desai that the LPC has caused great misery by its abuse of power and incompetence. Institutions like the Public Protector have become irrelevant and used for political scores and not necessarily protections of citizens. The South African Human Rights Commission is usually accused of only focusing on issues that are in the media space and not necessarily dealing with the real human rights violations on the ground. This is a clear decay of our Chapter 9 institutions, which are supposed to protect and strengthen the Constitution. Power is seized quietly, often through backroom deals, judicial interference, or corruption. South Africa's weakening constitution threatened judicial independence, political instability, deepening corruption, state capture, and non-active civil society make a traditional military coup very likely in South Africa. No tanks on the streets, but democracy must still be defended. The police, courts, intelligence service, media, or electoral bodies are manipulated or politicized to protect those in power. Leaders may change laws, remove opponents legally, or delay elections, but all under a legal disguise. Journalists, whistleblowers, judges, or opposition leaders may be intimidated, arrested, or discredited. Like Zimbabwe under Robert Gabriel Mugabe pre-2017, institutions were captured, elections manipulated, and dissent crushed, but all legally. State capture in South Africa under Jacob Zuma, key institutions like Eskom, the Hawks, and the NPA were allegedly used to protect private and political interests, not the public. Another example is Hungary or Turkey. Leaders slowly eroded democratic checks and balance while maintaining a facade of legitimacy. A silent coup is dangerous because people or citizens don't always notice that it is happening, even though it is happening in front of their eyes. By the time they do, it is very hard to reverse. It is too late. It destroys trust in democracy without a single shot fired. South Africa is not officially experiencing a soft or silent coup, but some signs and concerns suggest the country is at risk of one, already facing elements
which I guess was due for payment on his contract.
Don't forget to subscribe and like.